Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we are talking all about something that I think is pretty relevant to all of us.
Yeah.
Perfectionism
Oh, yeah, for sure.
versus optimalism.
Yes.
Yes,
Such an important distinction.
it is. We're going to be talking about this idea as it's described by psychologist Tal Ben-Shahar.
Yeah.
And, we all feel that pressure to achieve, to constantly be striving for something better.
Mm.
I'm sure we can all relate to that in some way. In fact, I remember this one time.
Oh, yeah.
I was freaking out about this presentation. I had to give it work.
Right?
And I stayed up all night trying to make it absolutely perfect. But all that stress
Oh, no.
and the lack of sleep
Yeah.
just made me completely bomb it the next day.
I hate when that happens.
It was terrible.
Yeah, it's like that classic idea in psychology that perfectionism can be, well, a bit neurotic.
Right.
Constantly chasing these impossibly high expectations.
Yeah.
And tying your self-worth to those achievements can just lead to a whole lot of anxiety and pressure.
Yeah, it really can.
It can.
It's like you're on a treadmill going nowhere fast.
Oh, I love that analogy.
Right. You're running and running, but never actually getting anywhere. Because that finish line just keeps moving farther away.
Exactly. But here's the thing, though.
Oh.
Perfectionism isn't all bad.
Oh.
Yeah. That drive for excellence, that ambition, it can actually be a powerful force for good.
Okay, so there's a good side.
Or is.
Okay, good. Because I was getting a little worried there.
It's what pushes us to learn, to grow, to create amazing things.
How do we know the difference?
That's a great question.
Like, where's the line?
That's where Tal Ben-Shahar's work comes in.
Okay.
He makes this really helpful distinction between perfectionists and optimalists.
Okay.
Perfectionists, as we've touched on, fear failure. They cling to this idealized version of reality where everything has to be flawless.
Right.
And when they inevitably encounter setbacks, they're completely devastated.
Oh, I've definitely been there.
We all...
Yeah, spiraling after even a small mistake like it's the end of the world.
It feels that way sometimes.
It does.
But you're saying there's another way.
Well, I'm hoping so.
There is. Optimalists, on the other hand,
Okay.
they embrace the reality that things won't always go perfectly.
Oh, okay.
They understand that failure is a part of life,
Mm-hmm.
and they see it as an opportunity to learn and grow.
So it's less about avoiding failure altogether.
Right.
And more about how we respond to those inevitable bumps in the road.
Precisely. Instead of being consumed by fear and self-doubt,
Right.
optimalists use challenges to adapt, to get stronger, to build resilience.
Oh, I like that.
Think of it like building a muscle.
Okay.
You have to push yourself to the point of discomfort in order to grow.
I can see that.
You can.
So I'm starting to see the difference here.
Yeah.
And it makes me think, which of these mindsets resonates more with me?
Ooh, that is the question, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Mm.
Am I approaching life as a perfectionist or as an optimist?
It's a really important question to ask yourself. Yeah.
Because recognizing these tendencies is a huge step toward living a happier and more fulfilling life.
That's good.
And speaking of fulfillment, let's delve into the price we often pay for chasing perfection.
Ooh, okay. This is where things get a little less rosy, right?
Maybe a little bit.
What are the downsides of clinging to this idea of flawlessness?
Well, if you're terrified of failing, you're less likely to take risks,
Okay.
to step outside of your comfort zone.
Right.
You might avoid new challenges or opportunities for growth because you're so afraid of making a mistake.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
If I'm constantly worried about messed up,
Yeah.
I'm probably going to stick to what I know, what feels safe,
Right.
even if it's not really pushing me forward.
Exactly. And then there's the whole issue of enjoying the journey.
Ooh, okay.
If you're so fixated on the destination, that perfect outcome,
Yeah.
you miss out on the beauty and learning that happens along the way.
It's like you're so busy planning the perfect vacation
Yeah.
that you forget to actually enjoy the trip itself.
You're so worried about ticking everything off your itinerary
Yes.
that you miss those spontaneous moments, those unexpected adventures.
Let me give you an example from pop culture.
Okay.
Remember that movie Click with Adam Sandler?
Oh, yeah, with the remote.
Yes. His character gets this magical remote that allows him to fast forward through all the challenging parts of life.
Oh, right.
He skips arguments, work struggles,
Wow.
even sickness.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
You do?
Didn't it end up being kind of depressing?
Yes. Because in trying to create this perfect life, he ends up missing out on all the messy, beautiful human experiences
Yeah.
that make life meaningful.
Right,
He loses connection with his loved ones, with his own emotions,
Wow.
with the very essence of what it means to be alive.
That's a powerful illustration of how striving for perfection can really backfire.
It can.
But it's not just about these big existential questions, right?
No, it's not.
This mindset also impacts our day-to-day lives in very practical ways.
Absolutely. Think about something like receiving feedback.
Okay.
Perfectionists often have a really hard time with this
Oh, really? Why?
because they're so invested in being right and perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Any criticism can feel like a personal attack.
Oh, yeah.
This can make it really difficult for them to learn and grow because they're constantly on the defensive.
It's like they're building a wall around themselves.
Yes,
Protecting themselves from any potential flaws being exposed.
exactly.
But in doing so, they're also blocking themselves from valuable insights
Right.
and opportunities for improvement.
And this resistance to feedback can show up in all areas of life, from
Mhm.
work to relationships to personal development.
Wow, that's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, it can be a real roadblock
it can.
to reaching our full potential.
Oh, for sure.
But here's the good news.
Okay, good.
There's a way to break free from this whole perfectionist trap
Okay.
and embrace a more optimal way of living.
It's like the sound of that.
And a big part of that is learning to embrace our emotions,
Oh, okay.
even the messy, uncomfortable ones.
Okay, so this feels a bit counterintuitive.
Yeah.
We're often told to focus on the positive, to look on the bright side,
Right.
to push away those negative feelings.
Yes, but the thing is,
Yeah.
avoiding our emotions doesn't make them go away.
Oh, okay.
It's like trying to hold a beach ball underwater.
I can see that.
You can push it down for a while,
Right.
but eventually it's going to pop back up with even more force.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It does.
So instead of suppressing those feelings, what are we supposed to do with them?
Acknowledge them.
Okay.
Let yourself feel them fully, without judgment. It's about active acceptance,
Okay.
not just tolerance. Allow those emotions to flow through you,
Mm-hmm.
and eventually they will fade.
So we're not talking about toxic positivity here.
No.
It's not about pretending everything is perfect.
Right.
It's about acknowledging the full spectrum of human experience.
Exactly.
The good, the bad.
The messy.
Everything in between.
Exactly. And, when we allow ourselves to feel that full range of emotions,
Yeah.
it actually creates more space for joy, for connection,
Mm-hmm.
for all the good stuff, too. Think about it like this.
Okay.
If you're afraid to feel sadness,
Yeah.
you're also closing yourself off to the possibility of experiencing deep joy,
Oh, okay.
because they're two sides of the same coin.
They are, yeah.
They are.
That makes so much sense.
Good.
It's like we need the darkness to appreciate the light.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about embracing emotions.
Right.
What else is key to cultivating this optimalist mindset?
Well, a big part of it is reframing our relationship with failure.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of seeing it as something to be feared and avoided,
Yeah.
optimalists see it as an opportunity for growth.
I mean, it's easier said than done, right?
It is.
Like, how do we shift from seeing failure as this devastating setback
Yeah.
to an opportunity for learning?
It starts with recognizing that failure is an inevitable part of life. We all make mistakes.
Everyone.
Everyone. We all experience setbacks. It's what makes us human.
Right, so it's about changing the narrative in our heads.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of beating ourselves up over a mistake,
Right.
we can ask ourselves, what can I learn from this?
Yes.
Or how can I use this experience to grow?
Exactly. And there's actually this fascinating concept in psychology called cognitive disequilibrium
Okay.
that explains how this works.
How so?
It's basically the idea that when our comfortable little world gets shaken up,
Okay.
when we encounter a challenge or a setback,
Yeah.
it forces us to reevaluate our approach,
Mm-hmm.
to find new solutions,
Right.
to adapt and evolve.
It's like when you're building a puzzle and you suddenly realize a piece doesn't fit.
Oh, perfect analogy.
It throws you off.
Yeah.
But then it forces you to look at the puzzle from a different angle,
Yes.
to try new strategies.
Mhm.
And ultimately, it helps you complete the picture.
That's a great analogy. And think about it. If all the pieces fit perfectly the first time,
Yeah.
where's the challenge?
Right.
Where's the learning?
Yeah, it would be pretty boring.
It would.
Yeah.
It's those moments of frustration, of cognitive disequilibrium
Right.
that actually push us to grow and expand our understanding.
That's really interesting. This makes me think about a time when I completely bombed a job interview. I was devastated at first, but then it took some time to reflect on what went wrong.
Okay.
I got feedback from a mentor,
Good.
and I used that experience to improve my interview skills.
Awesome.
And you know what? It actually led me to an even better opportunity down the road.
That's a perfect example of
Yeah.
how embracing those moments of failure
Right.
can lead to unexpected growth and even better outcomes than we could have imagined.
It's true.
It is.
Okay, so we've talked about embracing emotions,
Right.
reframing failure.
Yes.
What other tools can help us cultivate this optimalist mindset?
One of the most powerful and perhaps counterintuitive concepts is the idea of good enough.
Good enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
In today's world, we're
Yeah.
constantly bombarded with messages about having it all,
Yeah.
about striving for perfection in every area of our lives.
Totally.
But the truth is,
Yeah,
that's an impossible and exhausting standard to live up to.
it is. I
Sure.
hear that. It's like we're supposed to be superhuman, perfect parents, perfect partners, perfect employees
Yes.
with perfect bodies
Yeah.
and perfect social lives
And perfect homes.
and perfect homes, yes.
Right.
No wonder so many of us feel burnt out and overwhelmed.
Exactly. And that's where the good enough philosophy comes in.
Okay.
It's not about settling for mediocrity. It's
Right.
about recognizing our limitations.
Right.
Prioritizing what truly matters
Mhm.
and accepting that we can't do it all perfectly all the time.
So it's about finding a balance
Yeah.
between striving for excellence
Yes.
and giving ourselves permission to be human,
Yes.
to make mistakes,
Yes.
to have off days.
Exactly. It's about letting go of the all or nothing mentality
Okay.
and embracing a more nuanced approach to life.
I like that.
You do.
Yeah, it takes the pressure off,
It does.
right? It's like, okay, I'm not going to be perfect at everything,
Yeah,
and that's okay.
it is.
Yeah. I'm going to focus on what's most important to me right now,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to do my best,
Yes.
even if it's not always perfect.
And that's the key. Focusing on doing your best
Right.
rather than striving for perfection. Because when we release the pressure to be flawless,
Yeah.
it frees up so much energy and creativity
I can imagine.
to actually enjoy the process,
Mm-hmm.
to learn and grow,
Right.
and to make meaningful contributions to the world.
This reminds me of something you mentioned earlier
Yeah.
about how perfectionists often struggle with feedback.
Yes,
It seems like embracing the good enough philosophy could help with that too.
absolutely.
If we're not so attached to being perfect, we're more open to hearing constructive criticism
Yes.
and using it to improve.
When we let go of the need to be right all the time,
Right.
we create more space for learning and growth.
Yeah.
We become more receptive to feedback, more willing to experiment, to
Yeah.
try new things,
Right.
and ultimately more resilient in the face of challenges.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about embracing emotions, reframing failure, and the power of good enough.
Yes.
Is there anything else we need to know about cultivating this optimalist mindset?
Yes. There's one more subtle but really important aspect I want to touch on.
Okay.
It's what I call the yes but phenomenon.
The yes but phenomenon.
Yes.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about this yes but phenomenon.
Well, it's that tendency we have to
Yeah.
focus on the negative,
Yeah.
even when we're discussing something positive.
Okay.
You know, like when someone shares good news
Yeah.
and we immediately point out the potential downsides or risks, or when we're talking about someone who's achieved great things,
Mm-hmm.
but we can't help but bring up their flaws or mistakes.
Well, I totally get it now. It's like we can't fully appreciate the good
Right.
without also acknowledging the bad. It's
Exactly.
like we're looking for the catch.
Yes.
The reason why things can't actually be that good.
Exactly. And this yes but mentality
Yeah.
can really hold us back.
In what way?
It can make us cynical.
Right.
It can prevent us from celebrating successes. And it can keep us stuck in a negative loop.
So how do we break free from this yes but trap?
That's a great question.
How do we learn to appreciate the good without constantly qualifying it with the bad?
It's about shifting our focus.
Okay.
Instead of seeing the world through this lens of negativity,
Hmm.
we can start to cultivate a more positive perspective.
Right.
It's not about ignoring the challenges or pretending everything is perfect,
Right.
but rather about acknowledging the good, even in the midst of difficulty.
I think this connects back to what we were talking about earlier with
Yeah.
embracing emotions and reframing failure.
Absolutely.
If we can accept that life is messy and imperfect,
Mm-hmm.
that there will always be ups and downs,
Right.
then we can start to appreciate the good moments more fully
Yes.
without feeling like we have to constantly qualify them.
Precisely. It's about learning to hold both the positive and the negative
Right.
in our awareness without letting either one dominate our perspective.
Yeah.
It's about finding that balance,
Okay.
that middle ground where we can acknowledge the challenges
Right.
without letting them overshadow the beauty and the joy that also exists in life.
This whole conversation has been so eye-opening.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
It's like I'm starting to see the world in a new way.
That's wonderful.
I'm realizing that I've been holding myself to these impossibly high standards.
Yeah.
And that's been preventing me from truly enjoying the journey.
I'm so glad to hear that. It's amazing what can happen when we shift our mindset.
It really is.
When we let go of the need for perfection and embrace a more optimal approach to life.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into optimalism versus perfectionism,
Okay.
what's one key takeaway you want our listeners to walk away with?
I think the most important thing is to remember that this is a journey,
Okay.
not a destination.
Right.
There's no magic switch we can flip to suddenly become an optimalist.
I wish there was.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's about ongoing awareness, about making small shifts in our thinking and behavior over time.
And it's about being kind to ourselves along the way.
Yes, absolutely.
We're all works in progress, right?
We are.
We're going to make mistakes.
Yes.
We're going to have setbacks. But that's all part of the learning process.
Absolutely. The key is to keep practicing, to keep coming back to these principles,
Okay.
and to celebrate the progress we make along the way.
Thank you so much for sharing all of this wisdom with us today.
Oh, my pleasure.
I know I'm going to be thinking about these ideas for a long time to come.
Me too.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
We hope you've gained some valuable insights that you can apply to your own journey of personal growth. Until next time, keep exploring, keep evolving, and keep striving for your optimal self.